Good morning, y'all. This is Cody's Bait and Tackle, Warsaw, Missouri. Everybody's been wanting some information type videos from me. I'm going to try to do one here. Well, I ain't got any customers this morning, so it'll probably be quick. Probably won't go real in depth. Everybody's been wanting to know about the hybrid bass fishing on Truman Lake. I am probably one of the top hybrid guides, hybrid bass in Missouri. Uh, I've been running a lot of trips here lately, getting a lot of new people out I hadn't taken before. Everybody's just wanting to learn how to do it. So, number one, you can, right now with no current in the lake, no water flow, these fish are just roaming out in deep water. They're not really coming up on anything. Once in a while you might find them on the edge of a hump. They're not going to be on top of it like normal. If there's a lot of current in the lake, you will have fish that'll be on top of them humps. That current draws across them, draws the bait fish up there. Makes it easier for them hybrids to chase the bait, the shallower water they get in. Main thing is bait presence. This year our water's really clear on Truman. So if your bait does not look like it just come out of the water, the fish aren't going to eat it. If that shad's missing 10 scales off of it, the fish ain't going to eat it. If it's got red splotches on it from lack of oxygen or just getting beat up in the net or too many shad in your bait tank, they're not going to eat it. If you don't put enough salt in your tank right now, them shad get red-nosed a little bit, they're not going to eat it. If you oversalt your tank, they get white-nosed a little bit, they probably ain't going to eat it. I did that yesterday morning. I had too much salt in my tank. My shad got real white-nosed. I got out there yesterday morning setting on a ton of fish. Couldn't hardly make one bite. The only way I could get them to bite is if I had the boat moving. They couldn't see the shad quite as well with it moving that fast, and they'd hit it. I told my people, I said, we're going to have to dump this bait tank and go get new bait, and we'll catch these fish. Sure enough, I dumped the bait tank, caught some fresh bait, got set right back up on the same fish I was just setting on. We couldn't keep rods in the water. I think there was a point we didn't have a rod in the water without a fish on it. Right now, it's a graphing game also. These fish aren't really coming up to the top. They're feeding 10 to 15, 18 foot deep out in the lake, out in deeper water. All the fish I caught this week was in 23 to 62, 63 foot of water. They was just roaming all over out there. So I'm going to jump to how I set up most of my rods right now before I have somebody else come in the shop here. A simple Carolina rig. You want to run good, clear monofilament. Like I said, these fish are very sight sensitive. People think all them hybrids are swimming 30 mile an hour through the lake. They're going to hit whatever gets in front of them. Not at all. I mean, these fish are as spookish as it gets. I run either an ounce and a half, or 2 ounce egg sinker, depending on any current in the lake. Right now I'm running almost all ounce and a half or ounce. I'm running lighter stuff. Just run the Garcia reel, nothing fancy. Biggest thing, your rods. You want something really flexible that fish can grab, pull down in the water like that, and start stripping line. If you got something stiff, they're going to feel it, pop the bait off, or they're going to feel it and let go. I watched a lot of people try to run their catfishing rods. Had a guy in the shop this morning, I got my catfishing rods rigged up with braid on it. Will that work? No. You might catch a fish or two, but it's not going to work on average. Just simple Carolina rig is the easiest way to catch these fish when they're in the pattern they're in right now. Just tie a swivel, just like that. Pretty simple there. Fluorocarbon leader. The bass guys, they know what I'm talking about. Them bass are sight sensitive. The hybrids are the same way. I do 2 foot leader. That's what I start off with. Some of my leaders yesterday, by the time I got done, was only a foot long. Fish kept swallowing my hooks, so They kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter as the trip went on. Now I need to replace half them leaders, but I start off with about 2 foot. Just tie that on. Easiest hook to use, 3/0 or 4/0 octopus circle, or not circle hook, just a regular octopus hook, just like that. Some guys run the circle hooks. I don't like my clients missing fish. The circle hooks, you're gonna miss half or 3/4 of the bites you get. No fancy knots, nothing. I'll cut that little pigtail off, that way fish really can't see that fluorocarbon line either. This year, normally I run like a 20-pound fluorocarbon. This year, with the water as clear as it is, I dropped down to a 15-pound. It did make a difference. Drop down to that little bit lighter line. You know, that's what they got to do on Beaver and Norfolk. Some of them lakes, when they're fighting that really, really clear water. Here's what you got. That's your rig right there. If them fish are feeding deep, that's the only way you need to rig up. Now I'm going to show you one other thing. A lot of people, even the people I take out, I'll show them once or twice, they don't quite figure it out. To count your depth, if you're not running a line counter reel, push your button from that reel to that eye. That's 2 foot. So if you want to be 10 foot, you do 5 of them. If you want to be 16 foot, you do 8 of them. Really simple. Once you figure these hybrids out, they're pretty easy fish to catch. I mean, there's not much to them. When they're running a lot of water in the lake, you know, your artificials do work good. Spoons, swim bait, sassy shad, early mornings, late evenings. Sometimes you can even get on that top water bite. I did catch one fish this week on top water. That was it. It was pretty slow top water action. Like I said, most of them are feeding down deep. I run Berkeley Big Game, 20-pound as my main line. Good clear line. It works really good. I'm going to show you guys one more thing here. A lot of you guys probably have heard me talk about freelining shad on some of my videos. So when I do that, I don't rig up with a swivel, don't rig up with any weight at all. A lot of the time when the water gets real hot, which this week, midweek, they're probably going to come up to the top because they're not going to have much oxygen. It's supposed to get really hot. Simplest way to rig this up, I'm going to rig it up straight to this spool, show you guys. I grab a hook out of here. And what size hook I run depends on what size shad. Right now I'm running all 4 to 5 inch shad. 3/0 or 4/0 is about perfect. You hook that nose hole to nose hole straight sideways through the nose. And then that shad can swim around nice and free. So, I take these 2 lines. My hands don't work very well here, so they're so cut up from all the hybrid fishing this week. They look like somebody took a box knife to them, cutting them up in pieces. So I twist that about 10 times. You don't have to go quite that many, but I like to make sure my knots are gonna hold. Just twist that together, split that right dead center in the middle. That simple to splice your regular mono to your fluorocarbon. And just tie your hook on the end of that fluorocarbon there. Get your pigtail off there. And that's what you got. You put your shad right on the end of that, no weight, nothing. A lot of you guys that watch my Facebook, it's Cody Vanatin on Facebook. That right there, when you see me post piles of blue cat with my hybrids, like June, mid-May, they are all caught right there on that Freeline. Anytime you get a bug hatch, like yesterday there was a big bug hatch on Truman, some kind of little mayfly type deal. It wasn't mayflies, it was smaller than that, but you could have threw this out, caught all the blue cat you wanted right on the surface, Freelining live shad on top. Just let them swim around. I've caught them from 5 foot of water doing that all the way to 65, 70 foot of water doing that when the lake's up. A lot of the time them catfish, them blue cat will be feeding on the surface, you know, especially when you get them bug hatches. That right there is a really easy way to catch those fish. Just throw them live shad out as far as you can throw them away from the boat. Let them swim around. A lot of the time you'll see your shad swim around on top, then you'll see a boil from something eating it. Hybrids will eat it up there. They silhouette it. They can see it really good. A lot of the time if your water's a little bit dingy, all them fish will feed up. They'll try to silhouette that bait off the surface. Right now it's not working too good. Like I said, midweek, we got a lot of rain this last week. Push them fish down a little bit deeper, put that oxygen a little bit deeper in the water. Noticed yesterday I was killing some bait at 15 foot again, just from lack of oxygen. So probably midweek, that's going to come back up to 10, 12 foot I'm going to be killing bait. And then I'll go back to running this setup right here, try to catch them fish on top. That's about all I've got for you guys here. Like I said, Cody Vanatin on Facebook. Most of you guys already watch my Facebook page, see my posts, see my pictures. Pretty well anything you want to know hybrid fishing on Truman Lake will work on Lake of the Ozarks. There's still some stripers on Lake of the Ozarks. You use the same exact setups. North Fork, Beaver, Bull Shoals. Basically, you rig up the same way. All these lakes that have hybrids and stripers in them, these are the setups you're going to want to use. You get into some of them lakes where you can see 10, 15 foot deep. You got to run balloons, float them baits out further away from the boat, run planer boards, pull them shad on planer boards. You know, that's more for your big stripers in them lakes. But that's about all I've got for you guys. I did catch quite a few fish this week just on slab spoons, casting them, pumping them, let it flutter back down. That was working pretty good. Them fish had to be in a major feeding frenzy to catch them on them spoons, though, which I only caught it a couple of times this week, but when I did catch it, they'd hit it. Most of the time, these fish are just kind of schooled up in big giant schools out in that deeper water right now. Couple mornings I graphed for an hour and a half before I ever dropped a bait, and then once I started dropping baits, we was done with catching all of our fish before you even knew what happened. Right, like I said, right now it's a graphing game. It's just basically learning what you're looking for game. Once we get some rain and get current back in the lake, them fish will start drawing back up on them humps, them ledges, and the edges of them mud flats, the points, stuff like that where you normally catch them at. I'm watching guys, they go out and they just spot hop, where they've got pinpoints where they've caught them before on them. Even I've watched some of the other guides do it. They'll hit their pinpoints, they'll hit their marks. They don't see fish, they go on. You know, them fish are still there. They're just out off of it. I've had people all week watch me out in the middle of the lake, just out there drifting around, and they go right on by. They don't even realize what's going on. That's where your fish are right now. And they're pretty well, most of them are going to be within 10 or 12 miles of the dam right now with the low water, lack of current. They're going to be trying to go to that deeper, cooler water. There'll be some that'll stay up a little bit further, but not very many. So hopefully this helps you guys. I'm mainly doing this just every day. I'm answering these questions in the shop. try to help you guys out some. So I appreciate it. Have a good one, y'all. Good luck.